Assassin's Creed, Final Fantasy, and 313 megabytes. That's what I've got in store for you today, so let's dive in. Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. We burgeon into a brand new week, burrowing our way towards Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door and the June Nintendo Direct. It is a fantastic time to be a Nintendo fan because, frankly, they're not shutting down any studios, and we've got games coming. Pretty much, that's all you can ask for right now in the games industry. But what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hit that like button. If you enjoy these videos, it does help out a lot, and SwitchForce needs your help. So thank you very much. I appreciate you very, very, very much. And Nintendo is working to appreciate you as well. Well, maybe it's kind of by proxy via third parties. They are working to get more games on Nintendo Switch, and I think this is going to be a beautiful future as we see more and more companies hop on board. But first, the freaking Nintendo World Championships NES edition is 313 megabytes on Switch. That is a tiny game. That is so tiny. They can condense those lovely little NES sprites down to mere morsels. But after seeing some new gameplay, I can test that this still is going to be a super fun time, despite it being very, very small, and maybe you feel not worth it. It's a $30 game. Nintendo is going halvesies with us, which I really, really enjoy. I love having something cheap, and I think this is going to be the Mario Party fill-in for 2024. I think it just looks super fun. I think trying to race to get the mushroom in Mario, trying to race to defeat all the enemies in Zelda, and some more difficult challenges like beating Birdo in Mario Bros. 2. I think it's going to be really fun and addictive in a way that maybe we can't quite wrap our heads around right now. It just looks great to me, and maybe it taps into the old person inside of me since I played these games originally back in the day. Regardless, 313. It's the area code for Detroit, which is pretty sick, but it also is the size of Nintendo World Championships. I always want to call it NES Remix. By the way, 313 megabytes is smaller than NES Remix on Wii U, so there you go. Have at it. July. We get to talk about Assassin's Creed. Okay, I really believe that the next Assassin's Creed is going to end up on the next Nintendo Switch console, so it's kind of cool news that Assassin's Creed, codename Red, has officially been titled Assassin's Creed Shadows, and we're getting the first official trailer on the 15th of May, and the game officially releases November 15th. Now, there's not going to be a Switch 2 by November 15th, but I could easily see Ubisoft partnering with Nintendo to have this be one of the launch titles from a third party and a big game that people would love to play portably. November to March or April, whenever they decide to release the system, not that big of a gap. We're talking like 4 to 5 months, and I could easily see Nintendo's partnership with Ubisoft over games like Mario plus Rabbids, Immortals Phoenix Rising, the older Assassin's Creeds, carrying over into the Switch 2 generation, and maybe they even feature AC Shadows in the reveal trailer for the Switch 2. I think that would be pretty good. Assassin's Creed always sells super well. This new AC set in Japan looks incredible. I hope it really delivers on the promise of what we've always wanted from a samurai shinobi Assassin's Creed. Hopefully it delivers, and hopefully it ends up on Switch. We won't spend too much time on titles like this, but I do think it's important to start paying attention because a game like this could easily end up on the next Switch. And so could plenty of titles from Square Enix. I think they've been a phenomenal supporter of the Switch with their smaller stuff, but it's not like we see Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on the Switch. Well, partially because it probably couldn't run there, but partially because Square Enix has been very committed to these exclusive deals. And today they announced that it ain't working so hot. We're going aggressively multi-platform. And Nintendo is name dropped as part of their new plan to really, really push their games as many places as possible. And I think the timing is no coincidence. Nintendo reveals that yes, there is a new console. Next fiscal year, we'll talk about it. And then Square Enix says, hey, we're going multi-platform. We've already heard rumors that Square Enix is behind a lot of support for the Switch 2. We've even heard things like, Final Fantasy VII is going to be on Switch 2. And now I fully believe it. I think Square Enix is going to be a major partner for Nintendo, not just with their 2D releases, not just with their retro releases, but games like Dragon Quest XII, games like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, they will appear on Nintendo Switch 2, and Square Enix will profit from it. Their direct quote is, "We will pursue a multi-platform strategy that includes Nintendo platforms, PlayStation, Xbox, and PCs, especially in regards to major franchises and AAA titles, including catalog titles. It will build an environment where more customers can enjoy our titles." Now, the sad side of this story is that they did make cuts. Some employees did unfortunately lose their jobs, and that is always horrible. It's good that these games are going to go multi-platform. It's good that they're talking about their major franchises, their AAA titles. This isn't just like, oh, let's spread more of our catalog. They do mention catalog titles, but in this way, I think they mean like Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth could come to a Switch platform, and they're looking to aggressively pursue their biggest titles onto these other platforms and consoles, which includes Nintendo as the first they mention, and that is a big deal. I think Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be a very heavy consideration for a lot of publishers looking to milk more money out of their expensive development projects and their time-consuming development projects. The game industry is in a really bad way right now. Games take too long and cost too much. They come out and demand too many sales, and then even when they're successful, they're not successful. So it's very tricky. It's a very trying time to be a game developer, and it really sucks. I'm proud of Nintendo that they've avoided many of these cuts, and I think coming over to the Switch side of things is going to be good for many of these larger studios and larger publishers to hopefully avoid more cuts in the future. I mean, bring everybody on board. I really do think this is something you're going to see more of and more frequently and quickly now that we do have the official confirmation. Square Enix is like, yo, we're coming to Nintendo. We know Call of Duty is coming to Nintendo. Don't be surprised to hear more companies try to amp up their shareholders and amp up confidence by saying, yo, we're coming to all platforms with our major titles, including Nintendo platforms, because you know what? Those sell freaking well and people love that stuff. That's why I believe games like Assassin's Creed Shadows will be on Nintendo Switch 2 and be there pretty early. I don't think we're going to wait years between titles. I think we're going to get day and date stuff. And I think we're going to get soon after stuff if it launches before the next Nintendo Switch system. This is only good. Spreading games is exciting, and exclusives, in my opinion, should probably just be like Nintendo makes Nintendo exclusives, Sony makes Sony exclusives, Xbox, I don't know what they're doing, but you know what I mean? Like, Square Enix games don't need to be exclusive. Capcom games don't need to be exclusive. It's fun when Ubisoft did like a Mario Rabbids exclusive because it's working with Nintendo characters, and I kind of allow an exception, at least in my brain, there. But like, we don't need Monster Hunter Wilds to be exclusive. We don't need Resident Evil 9 to be exclusive. We don't need the next big Atlas titles to be exclusive. We don't need the next big Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy titles to be exclusive. Spread them, play them, reap the profits, please the fans, keep the developers working. It seems like a win-win-win-win-win-win. Let me know which Square Enix game to be most excited to play on Switch 2 in the comments down below, because I don't expect any of this to start transpiring until we get to the next system that has the power to back up what Square Enix wants to do. In interesting eShop news, Nintendo is delisting another title. A major game that was kind of a big deal for Nintendo is being delisted, but there's a good explanation. So as of June 13th, Shin Megami Tensei 5 and all of its DLC will drop and disappear from the Switch eShop. That is because Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance is releasing on June 14th. So it's an enhanced version of SMT 5, and therefore they are dropping the original version of SMT 5. Now don't worry, if you already had the game, you will still be able to re-download your software, re-download your DLC, but if you want to buy it new, you're going to have to get the game in the Vengeance form. Now, I checked on the eShop, and right now, SMT5 is still $60, so there's not like an incentive to go buy it quickly now. If there was a sale, I would be like, dude, go grab this now before they delist it, because this is just a way for them to up the price. And if you do see SMT5 physically for cheaper, like, maybe grab that, as that'll probably run out of stock soon. Nonetheless, this isn't really much of a bad thing because the game is $60 in the eShop, so they're just going to be replacing it with a better, more complete version. I just find it interesting when things get delisted and disappear, especially because we have to be aware. In an era where games can poof, where Nintendo poofs their services, where, oh, you can't play 3DS Online anymore, like, we need to be aware of this stuff and eShop delistings of major titles that at one point were huge console exclusives. Like, it's interesting. Luckily, this one, though, is not a bad thing, and man, I'm so grateful to Nintendo for not having bad things lately. Let me know what you think of today's topics in the comments down below, everybody. Go have a great day yourself, and until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.